Hi, this is Skylar Wick. Today I'm going to be talking about what is DNA and how it works. For most people, they don't know what DNA is and they don't know how it really functions. Today I'm going to be talking about the step-by-steps on how DNA is created and how it works. DNA means deoxyribonucleic acid, as you can see the D and A in those words. Most people don't know that because all they hear is DNA in everyday life. It is a bunch of molecules stuck together, and then it creates this nerd's rope type structure, which is called the double helix, which everybody's heard of in their science classes. But today I'm going to be talking about how it is made into that double helix. If you've ever been in biology or any other science class in high school or college, I'm sure you know that it acts as like a blueprint. Basically, it's the foundation of any living organism, human, animal, dinosaurs. If anybody's seen the recent Jurassic World feature that came out over the summer, they talked a lot about DNA and genetic coding, and this can really explain it a lot. Or to break it down, it can be simply just a recipe for any living thing, just as you're cooking in the kitchen. Something needs to cook to be able to make the DNA. And it's just crazy to think that a small molecule that you can barely even see can be so crazily complex, like a tree. Heck, even a dog, or even a dinosaur, the Indominus Rex, just like from Jurassic World. But to go even further, we need to find out what amino acids are. They are tiny little chemicals inside our bodies, such as aspartic acid, glutamic acid, phenylalanine, serine, and even proline. And all these amino acids go together and they make up proteins, just like a bunch of Legos stuck together, which are basically called the building blocks of life, just as these three drawn. Basically, to break it down, amino acids make up proteins, proteins make up cells, cells make up tissue, and then tissue make up organs, as you can see my pretty organ drawing, and then all of that, it makes a human. Obviously, they're going to have a little bit more meat on their bones than my stick figure, but it's crazy to think that all of this put together makes up a human or any type of animal. And all these proteins are put together in each specific shape, as I'm drawing right here. And you also need to keep in mind that there's a specific shape for each one. There's millions and millions of different types, and if they're not that certain or specific shape needed, then they just won't work. Basically just like Legos. If you try to attach a piece to the wrong other end, it won't work, just as these proteins are attached to any living organism. From there, all these millions of amino acids don't know what to do. So this is when DNA comes in and they tell all the amino acids to form together and make the perfect protein shape, as you can see right here. What's crazy to think is that if the proteins are built all in the right place at the right time, then they can go on to make cells, tissues, organs, or even owls. And then they'll just come out just fine, just like that. Voila. Basically, this right here is kind of like the double helix, just simplified down a little bit more. It's the basic model, just a ladder type structure. This one is made up of 4 different kinds of chemicals that are underlined. Yes, they each have different colors and different letters, and that's all for a very good reason. And as I cover up this right half of it, you can look at its chemical sequence, basically known as the genetic code, which I'm sure many people have heard of. And that's how DNA works. It just enters in like a little code, and then it just all goes together. And this millions and millions and millions of letters, they're all coiled up, just like this, and it goes right inside the nucleus. So it looks like a bunch of little spaghetti pieces that are just all curled up. And then our buddy amino acid and all the amino acid friends, they all live right below the nucleus, outside in the cytoplasm. It's crazy to think that it's millions and millions and millions of letters long, and this is all happening inside your body. What's really cool is that inside the small area of the nucleus, it makes tiny little copies that are RNA, which they look like the little spaghetti structure that I just drew. And this RNA is a little bit shorter than the DNA, and it only has one side. The other side is missing. And you have to have DNA and RNA for them to work. They both need each other. And then what's really interesting is that this RNA is small enough, it fits through this little hole right outside of the nucleus. And then it goes through this assembly line type looking thing, and which is called a ribosome, which is the rock-like structure. This ribosome looking structure kind of looks like a Pokemon in its first form. It's, in short terms, it's a machine that builds protein, but what's crazy is it kind of does it at a slow pace because it only does 3 at a time. And according to the RNA code, they stick amino acids together, and they make certain shapes and sizes, and what makes a protein. The chain can grow and get longer and form all kinds of crazy shapes, where it forms this pretty colored little protein. And since it only does 3 letters at a time, the ribosome tells the RNA what to make. CAA tells the ribosome to grab a glutamine, and then AGU tells the ribosome to grab a serine. And then once this protein is formed and it's released from the ribosome, as you can see, this pretty little nerd structure ball, it can go on to make all kinds of things, even a brand new cell. In other words, it can make this cute little turtle right here with sunglasses. So to break everything down over the past 4 minutes, DNA is a molecular blueprint for any living thing at all. That's the basic definition of it. So to answer the question from the beginning, if anybody asks you what DNA is, to break it down in the simplest form, it's just a molecular blueprint for any living thing. Any organism, anything that's alive, breathing, that's what DNA is. The DNA creates the RNA, thus the RNA makes these beautiful colored proteins. And these proteins, they make life. This is such a crazy, beautiful process, entirely based on chemistry and all these codes and all this process that goes inside of a body. It does so much work that most people don't even know about, and it creates all these awesome organisms which create life. Animals, humans, dinosaurs, everything. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching how DNA works and the function and the origins of it. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Skylar Wick.